gentlemen, welcome back. We have a lot more reveals, of course, because 12 days in Nikke's, you know how it is. All we have today are purple cards. We basically moved on from yellow. Not that there won't be more yellow cards, but it's just they're revealing purples now. These are all part of both the Goddess Squad and the Weissritter Squad. These are two new squads added, or sorry, two new traits added to the purple color. You can technically use them interchangeably with the current purple decks. It's just these are essentially meant to be their own decks. So first we start with the 2-cost Dorothy with no trigger. If there are no cards in your area, reduce the energy requirement of this card in your hand by 2. On your turn, if there are 3 or more characters other than this card with different names in your area, this character gets 1000 BP. And then on play, draw 1, sideline 1 from your hand. This is a really good card. The draw sideline is very, very good. And it's a pseudo zero. This is also a Dorothy, which means you can play this in Inherit. She does have no trigger, so it actually works out because in the Inherit squad, your only Dorothys are the 0 cost, the 3 cost, and the 4 cost. Typically, you don't want to raid over the 3 cost because it's a double gen. You don't want to raid over the 4 cost because she is your color trigger. If I remember right, yeah, she's your color trigger, and also her effect while in the front line is just a pretty good card because it's just if you have a non-trigger in your life that goes to the sideline, you can just draw a card. It's a hard one to turn, but it's still another way to draw a card. Also, she's a 4K. So you typically want to raid over the 0 cost, but this gives you another good raid target to hit on it. It's just, will you play these fully? Maybe, maybe not. But the requirements at least make her a 3K pretty easily because you only need 3 different names, and it's not like trait locked or anything. So this is a pretty good card. I do wish she got a trigger, but it's fine that she doesn't just because of the purpose of Inherit. Next we have the final. This is just a final for purple. It's just another one based for the Goddess Squad. So I'm actually really glad they do these. I wish they did these more actually. Just more. It basically reprints of finals, but in a different art to represent the new build. I think these are super sick, and I wish we saw more of these. It could also alleviate the issue that we have in UA in that they don't really reprint cards. So then cards like finals eventually get bought out, and then there's just no more. So yeah. We have Trombe. The first in our new trait, Weissritter. Weissritter is essentially in other words the Crown Kingdom or Crown Kingdom. It's another faction that helps support the pioneers. But the Crown Kingdom itself, based on the cards released so far, it's not a build on its own. It's meant to support the existing builds in the game. That said, this is a 3-cost double gen with a draw trigger. On play, choose one of the following effects. Either draw 1, sideline 1 from your hand, or if you played a card from your hand to the outside area with your effect, during this turn, draw 1 card. This is translated weirdly, but this is just basically saying if you discard the card from your hand with your own effect, you can just draw a card instead. So, draw a sideline or just draw a card for free. You always have plenty of ways to discard cards too, and also this is double gen, so this is really good for pioneers. Yes, like pioneers specifically. Actually, you'll see why later. We have Rapunzel. We have a new one at least. Rapunzel Pure Grace. This is a younger past version of Rapunzel. This is a 2-cost with a draw trigger. This card is also treated as Rapunzel, which means you can raid over it with a 5-cost. When attacking, if there are 3 or more trait goddess characters other than this card with a different name on your area, you may draw 1 card. If you did, place 1 card from your hand to the sideline. This lets you draw 1 sideline 1, and this is optional. This is not mandatory, so on attacking, you just do it. You do need 3 other trait goddess characters. So in the goddess squad, there are actually 6 characters. There's Rapunzel, there's Scarlet, which you'll see in just a bit, but her name is Gurin when it comes to translations, but it is Scarlet. We have Dorothy, we have Snow White, we have Red Hood, and then we have Lily Weiss. So there are 6 goddess characters. Obviously in the deck, you're gonna easily have 3 or more, so it doesn't really matter. It just depends on how fast you can output them. But yeah, this is just a pretty good generic card. Also, pretty good attack, good stats. It's a good card. Yeah, this is what I mean by the Gurren. They said this in the volume 1s too. If you look at Experts, they call it Gurren as well for the translation, but it will be Scarlet Black Shadow. This is the 0 cost with a draw trigger. It's just treated as Scarlet, just for the name. I don't think she doesn't have a raid, and I don't know if she will. I hope she gets a raid, but she doesn't have one right now. This is actually a really good card because she has a draw trigger. Usually the 0 cost with 2K don't have triggers at all. So the fact that she has a draw trigger is just really nice. Yeah, it's just a general card. It's just another Scarlet name. It's cool. Then we have our first Red Hood card for purple. This is Red Hood. This is a 3-cost double gen with a draw trigger. On play, you may return one other goddess card with required energy of 3 or less from your area to your hand. If you did, choose up to one goddess character on your area. It gets 1000 BP during this turn. If this character was played by the effect of your red hood during this turn, it's set to active and it gets 1000 during this turn. So this essentially lets you, if you free play this whatever off of a red hood, you can choose something that you had played also that same turn, and then you can set it to active. So this is a nice card to set them active. It's just, it really only works with the red hood as far as I'm seeing. It's just, you could choose any trait, goddess to get 1000, but to set it active, it's only applied to this character specifically. So, yeah, if I'm reading that right, let me just make sure. Yeah, set to active. Oh no, sorry. It's not just this character. It's any it's whatever you choose with the trait goddess. Yeah. So like if you like, I don't know, you played this turn, and then you played this off of whatever the red hood does, like plays like free body. You could choose this, gets 1000, and then she could set herself to active, which is really nice because then you get the wind attacking effect immediately. Yeah. Then we have our Snow White Innocent Days. In terms of art, actually, funny enough, this is the alt art for the zero cost Snow White in the Volume 1 set. So this is younger Snow White. This is a 1 cost with an active trigger. This card is also treated as Snow White. Again, there's no raids. It's just saying this for the name. It's just a typical searcher. It's on play like a top 3. Reveals up to a goddess card among them, and then if you do, discard the card. This is actually really good because he has a trigger. Typically, these searchers do not have triggers. So the fact that she has a trigger, let alone an active trigger, is really, really nice. They really need the trigger too, because the problem with Pioneers is that they just didn't really or have traits, or they didn't really have triggers. So again, you're not really playing this in Pioneers because it only searches Goddess, but hey, it's a Snow White name. You could probably mix and match them unironically. So this is another Snow White. It's just a 0 cost with a get trigger, so very basic to standard. Then we have another Red Hood. This one's a little interesting. So it's a 2 cost with potential double gen with an active trigger. If there are 3 or more goddess characters other than this card with different names in your area, increase this character's generated energy by 1. So you'll always get 2 energy basically. Early game might be a little awkward, but basically you just need 3 different names. I get why it's different names, although in my opinion, I wish it was just goddess characters, but whatever. On play, if this character was played by the effect of your red hood during this turn, this character gains, this character specifically, if there is a red hood on your front line, your opponent cannot choose this character with a character effect unless they additionally place 1 card from the hand to the sideline until the start of your next turn. So, obviously, you want to try to free play this, but this effect is really weird. So when I first read this, I thought it was like frontline protection. No, it's not. It's just if it's played by the effect specifically of the red hood, this character gains this character. If there's a red hood on your front line, it does include yourself, but your opponent can't choose this character. First of all, she's a double gen. You do not want her on the front lines ever. Usually you don't want double gens on the front line. So this is a weird effect that doesn't really have that much relevance as far as I can think of. Maybe there's niche situations where you get to push her up, but in general, if she's a double gen, you want to keep her in the back. So I don't know. This is just a really strange effect. It is protection for herself, but like, unless there's a way to swap cards around in the deck, this is kind of really stupid. And then we have a 0 cost red hood. Note it's a 0 cost with the active trigger and only 500 BP. On play, choose up to 1 goddess character on your area. It gets 1000 BP. Note it says up to 1, not 1 other, so she can choose herself during this turn. If this character was played by the effect of your red hood during this turn, it's 2 instead. So you could potentially buff 2 goddess characters with 1000. The problem is, 1, I don't know why she's so fucking weak. She is one of the stronger Nikkes, by the way, in lore. So I don't know why she's so weak. Second of all, a BP boost is not really what the deck needs. As far as the cards that I've seen, they don't really have trouble with the BPs. I mean, I guess BP like buffs are pretty nice, but it's not really like necessary for what the deck wants to do. It's not like Mistless where they want to buff themselves a bunch, but it is a 0 cost red hood. You do want this because there is a raid. It's just we haven't had it revealed for the translations yet. But yes, there is a raid red hood. So We have Snow and Wolf. This is the 4-cost special for the Goddess build. It's a generic. It's kind of a generic special. It's just a sidelines a 3K or less. If there's a Snow White Innocent Days or Red Hood, it's 4, and then if you have both, it's 5. So basically, you want both Snow White and Red Hood, which you should have, obviously. This is Lily Weiss. This is an interesting card. So this is a 9-cost raid. As far as I've seen it, especially in terms of the leaked photos, there's nothing that generates 3. So for each trait goddess character with a different name on your area, reduce the required energy of this card in your hand by 1. This is a 9-cost with no trigger, but she's a 5k. Like I said, there are 6 different goddess names, not including Lily Weiss because this is the card. You have 5 others: Red Hood, Dorothy, Scarlet, Rapunzel, and did I say Snow White already? Yeah, Snow White. Yeah, Dorothy. So Snow White, Dorothy, Rapunzel, Scarlet, and then Red Hood. So you can essentially play this as a 4-cost 5k. That's really fucking good. Except she has no triggers, and she's just a vanilla 5k. Kind of interesting because she is considered the strongest Nikke ever in the lore. So making her a 5k makes sense. It's just the problem with these kinds of cards. The last one I'm thinking of for Ian especially is JJK Volume 2. There's a Toji that's a 6 cost and he's a 5k, but he's just a vanilla 5k. Now those are technically fine, except the problem is as a vanilla card, you aren't really a threat at all. Especially in the current game, in terms of JP especially, 5Ks don't really matter unless they're doing other stuff, right? It's like a raid with a bunch of different effects, like the Ava one that like whatever, it's just on silent, blah blah blah. It's just as a generic vanilla 5K, it's not a threat because you could easily get chump blocked by like some low body. So it's still a cool card. She also doesn't play active, by the way, so that kind of matters. Obviously, we have to see what the Red Hood does, but if the Red Hood can potentially play her for free, active maybe, that that is potentially really good. Oh, additionally though, if we use the where is it? Yeah, this Red Hood. If you play this for free, I'm gonna assume the raid plays a body for free right away. I don't know what it actually does. I'm gonna assume the Red Hood raid plays it free. If say that Red Hood plays this for free and you have that Lily Weiss already, it would play this for free, choose that Lily Weiss, and then she sets to active and she's a 6k attacker. I guess you have that going for her, but again, she's still a generic vanilla, so again, she could just easily be chump blocked. We have more crown cards. We have the 0 cost with a draw trigger. On play, look at the top 2 cards of your deck. Place up to 1 Weissritter or trait Pilgrim or Modernia to the sideline. Place the remaining cards at the top of your deck in any order. This isn't a rearranger, which is really good. And note she says Weissritter, Pilgrim, or Modernia. So Weissritter is obviously the new trait. We've seen Modernia, and then the Pilgrim is the Volume 1 stuff. So yeah, she is meant to pair with the Pilgrim deck. This is a new 0 that you would play in the deck because the problem with the deck is that you have some draws, but their payoff is not really good. So this letting you rearrange lets you get to your cards a lot faster, especially since that deck, the problem with the Pilgrim deck is that lack of triggers and it's really inconsistent. It's like wildly inconsistent for what you want to do, which is 5/2 Scarlet, which isn't really that much of a threat anyway. So we have a 2-cost crown with no triggers. On play, looks at the top 3 cards of your deck. Reveal up to 1 Weissritter or trait Pilgrim or Modernia among them. Add it to your hand. Place 1 at the bottom of your deck in any order. If you add a card to your hand, place 1 card from your hand to the sideline. This is your first searcher. That's one of the other issues. If I remember right, yeah, Pilgrims, I don't think they have any searchers, so this is your only searcher. You do play this as a 4 because, again, you need to search and dig fast. The issue is just, like, no triggers, right? Which I kind of get. She's a 2-cost 3k with a search effect. But it's just like, at this point, man, they should have just given her a trigger, because honestly, no triggers really sucks, especially in the current game state of the meta, where it's just everything attacks so fast. Having no triggers really sucks, which is why triggerless decks aren't that common, because they fucking suck. Their payoffs so far aren't that good, and then having no triggers means that if an opponent aggroes you, they likely won't see anything that will punish them at all, right? You'll have like color triggers, finals, specials, I guess raids, and then a few triggers here and there, but lack of triggers in the clear triggerless deck, it just means that your opponent can aggro you without being punished for it, which is really stupid. Oh, but yeah, this is still a good card. You still play a 4 of anyways. And then we have our last card, Crown. This is a 4-cost raid with a raid trigger. She raids over Crown or Trombe, which means that 3-cost double gen from early, you can raid over it. You wouldn't want to because it's double gen, but you can. On play, draw 1 card. Then you may place 1 card from your hand to the outside area. If you did, play up to 1 purple Weissritter or trait Pilgrim or Modania with a required energy of 3 or less and AP cost of 1 from your hand to the area rested. Activate main once per turn. This character gains 1000 BP and impact 1 during this turn. Place all cards from your hand to the sideline. So the on-play effect is really good. It lets you free play a body. Granted, it's only a 3 cost or less, but hey, it lets you free play a body. The only thing is that you have to discard the card, which is fine. Additionally, you can give her 1000 BP and impact 1, but you discard your entire hand for it. So one of the issues with Pilgrim is that their effects are meant to basically throw out your hands. You're meant to vomit out your hand and then just toss it all away with their effects. Especially the 5/2 Scarlet, because you have to discard 3 to get all of her effects. The problem with this is that you're not always going to want to do this. Granted, it's an activate effect, so you don't have to use it. It's not on play or anything, but discarding your entire hand is not necessarily good. Because this requires you to discard all cards from your hand. Right now, we have seen no cards for recursion. Volume 1, they had no cards that recur from the sideline. So once the cards are in the sideline, it's over. You can't get any of them back. One of the biggest problems I saw was that if I was discarding my hand, I can only do those kinds of effects like once a game, basically, or maybe even twice if I'm lucky. It's just discarding your entire hand. This is meant to close out games, but losing your entire hand really sucks because there's way too many scenarios where your hand has decent cards and you just don't want to toss them all for this effect. So again, like I said, it's meant to close out games, but still. This also conflicts with the Scarlet, technically, because, like I said, the 5/2 Scarlet from Volume 1 requires you to discard 3 to get all of her effects. It makes her a double attacker. It gives her 1k BP, so she becomes a 5k double attacker. And then it lets her get the when attacking effect, where every time she attacks, draw a card. But it kind of conflicts with that, because unless you have, like, 4 cards, I guess, you, like, discard 3 for Scarlet and then activate the effect to get impact. But again, like, this is all in a scenario where the cards in your hands are useless, and there's not that many times where I look at my hands, I go, I just want to get rid of all of these cards, right? Because then what happens on the crackback is that if your opponent is, like, living, you're kind of on top deck mode at that point. Again, she is still an impactor, but I mean, if your opponent sees this, it's just going to kill her right away. And at that point, it's better pray you have another crown, I guess, to raid over, because again, the play is play from hand, not sideline, which is my big issue. The Rapunzel could have technically fixed that. It's just her 5 cost fucking sucks. It adds a character from your sideline to your hand. It doesn't play one from the sideline, so I don't know. It is what it is. But yeah. Anyways, overall, these cards are pretty good. The Goddess Squad is still getting the new cards, so it's kind of an interesting build. It's just not really much of a threat until we see what the rest of the cards do. And then Crown is a good support card for the Pilgrim deck. It's just the Pilgrim deck needs a lot. It's like arguably the worst deck ever in the entire Nikke set. It's just because they don't really have payoff for what they want to do. What they want to do is really slow. This makes it a little faster and more consistent, but it doesn't really help with what they want to do, especially since one of their big issues is just lack of non-triggers. Mostly because the Inherit is a triggerless build, and so when they made and designed the set, they decided to give the Pilgrims a bunch of non-triggers for some reason, so I don't fucking know. I'm hoping they add better support cards, but right now the Crown stuff is pretty decent for Pilgrims, and then the Goddess Squad looks fine. It's just nothing too special. But yes, until then, I will see you guys tomorrow, as that's all the cards for today. We'll probably get more reveals tomorrow too. And yeah, I'll see you later.